the university system. And if you invite a preacher, there's no way I will not talk somehow about the Bible. That is how it is. Because everybody has an identity. And you know the man speaking, my identity is preaching. Every man is a product of how he or she thinks. Every man and woman. The way you think will determine how far you go. If your mind is not renewed, your life will never have any positive impact on earth. The Bible somehow said in Romans 12 verse 2, it said, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So your mind has to be renewed to be able to comprehend what God is saying and what the world is advancing to grasp with. Let me say this to you. If you take an alligator from Nigeria, for instance, and take him to United Kingdom, it will never be a crocodile. That is how, if your mind is not renewed and you travel out of your country to a new country, you will still be a failure. Success is not a function of change of location. Success is a function of a transformed mind. Life story in the Orient, precisely South Korea, something happened some years back. A man was fishing. And this man who was fishing, every time he gets a big fish, he will throw the big fish back to the water. And every time he gets a small fish, he'll put a small fish into the boat. So somebody was watching him from afar and was wondering why he was doing that for that long. And the man got close to him and said, excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question? The man said, yes, what do you want to ask me? He said, I've watched you from afar. I noticed that every big fish is thrown back and every small one is thrown to the boat. So he said, look, this is the problem. I don't have a big frying pan. I have a small frying pan. The man looked at him and wondered why. He said, so every big one, I throw them back because my frying pan can't contain. The man said, all you need to do is to cut the fishes into smaller pieces and put them. Now, but his mind was fixed to a small frying pan. So he could not break out of it. So he was limited to his thinking. Now, hear this story also, life story that happened in the Middle East. They were trying to build a city precisely in Saudi Arabia, and they called an American firm to come and build. When they were to build, the heat was so much. So the American firm said, look, they can't continue this project. And they called a firm from Europe to come also to build. And the company that came from Europe too, the heat was so much so they abandoned the project. Then they wanted to build the city, so they were worried. How would they build? Then somebody said, look, from Orient, I can take over this project. They said, look, they couldn't do it from America. They couldn't do it from Europe. How come you think you can do it? They said, yeah, give me the plan, I will do it. So what did he? That's why thinking is very transformed. Thinking is very important. He said, all his workers should sleep in the day when the heat is heavy. And then they now work in the night when there's no sun. Do you understand now? He had to shift. So when it's night season, when there's cold, that's when they do construction. In the daytime, that's when they sleep. So they were able to execute the project and got all the millions and billions of dollars. Because he renewed his mind. He transformed his way of thinking. If you want to make impact in life, you must shift. Have a paradigm shift in your way of thinking. No conventional man can make an impact in life. Every man that has ever made impact is a man who does not think in the natural way. You think out of the box. You must be a person who, no matter the challenges of life. Now listen, that's mathematics and that's life-matics. Mathematics is what you learn in school. Life-matics is what you meet in reality of life. Permit me to use that word. When you meet challenges of life, your brain has to work. Your mind has to go into action. Every man of impact does not rely on what he was taught in school. Your mind has to be transformed, renewed mind, and then that transformed mind will go to work. Now listen. Do you know God gave you his kind of mind? And you know the brain has size. The mind is limitless. You can be in Arochukwu now and be seeing United Kingdom. You can be in Arochukwu now and be seeing United States. You can be in Arochukwu now and then be seeing Port Harcourt, Nigeria. That's how powerful the mind is. So when you're able to use your mind to do good things, and let me say this to you. 3 things hinder any man who wants to transform his mind. Number 1 is tradition. Tradition is not plain masquerade. Tradition is a way of thinking. You say, well, we can't do this. You are fixed to a pattern of life. Jesus in God's word said, you have made the word of God not effective because of your tradition. That means a traditional way of belief is that you are not fixed. Even when they say something good is about to be done, they say, no, it can't change. Do you know, in 1904, it was said that no metal can fly to the skies. And the Wright brothers, their father, who was a bishop and an engineer, was in that council of engineers in Edinburgh, and said they can't fly any metal into the air. But barely 6 years after, the Wright brothers disproved that theory by taking the first metal into the air. They were off and they refused to think like others. Everywhere you have seen civilization move from one level to another is men who have refused to accept what people say cannot be done. There's one thing I want you to do: never tie yourself to tradition. Tradition is a belief system that refuses to accept development. There are people now who are right where you are and say, no, you can't prosper in Nigeria. You can't prosper in Africa. You can't prosper. No, that's not true. That is not true. Places don't make people. It's people that make places. It is you with your transformed mind that can change the environment to become what you want it to be. Look at my own life now. I have proved to everyone that it is possible to make it in Nigeria. So let your mind be renewed to accept that wherever you are not disadvantaged. Where you are is the best place. All you need to do is to renew your mind to accept the God of God and accept the development and with whatever is changing times. And at that point, I tell you, success, nobody can stop you. Second thing that limits people in their thinking, you'll be surprised, is the association you keep. If you want to be a good thinker, rub your mind with people who are thinkers. Never hang around a dummy. If you stay around somebody who is not traveling at the airport, you may miss your flight. So when you rub your mind with people who are great thinkers, not necessarily being physically with them, through their books, through their materials, it's an iron sharpeneth iron. So a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. In Proverbs 27, verse 17. All you do, he that walketh with the wise shall be wise. That's what the Bible says. So stay around people who are thinkers. Before you know it, you begin to reason like them. You know, you can't be an eagle and hang around a vulture. They look alike, but they don't behave alike. If you want to be an eagle, then stay with the eagles. Never, even if you're an Arochukwu, don't think like an Arochukwu man. Think like a man who wants to go somewhere. So you can pick materials of such people and read. So stop keeping company with people who don't think. And if you don't think, let me say this to you, you will stink. It is those who think that get life tick. If you don't think, hear me again, you will stink. And if you stink, you will sink. So be a good thinker. And hear this again. The third thing that you must be conscious of, watch the books you read. It's not every book that transforms your mind. Information is very powerful. What gets into your mind will affect you negatively or positively. So when you pick a book, find out, is this book improving my life? Or is this book just for me to have fun? Daniel in the Bible said, I then understood my books. If, for instance, I want to be a great architect, I have to look for a book of a great architect. If I want to be a great lawyer, I have to look for a book of a great lawyer. So the books you read will determine how far you go. And you know, when they live in a society, for instance, part of the world where people don't read, and nobody can lead in any field except you're a reader. You can never be a leader until you're a reader. Reading is not, we read to write exams and to pass exams. We don't read to develop our mind. You can never have a transformed mind except you're a reader. Only readers have a transformed mind. So consciously read. Stop reading junks. Anything that gets into your mind has a way of affecting your life. So pick materials that will push your mental capacity to a new level. And then there and then you see yourself moving towards that area where your mind has been transformed to. Check everything you're doing. Let me say this. There's a law called the law of lead. The law of lead operates this way. It is simple. This is you. This is you. And this is whatever you're doing. For instance, you're a businessman. This is the business. This is you. Everything you do will grow to meet your mental capacity. Now, if your business is no longer growing, just know you are no longer growing. It's not the economy. The day your mind shifts and grows, the business will grow. Now, let me ask you this. Nigeria, for instance, has natural resources. Then why are we not growing? Because natural resources do not bring development and growth. It is the transformed mind that determines the level of system and growth. So everybody, including you right now listening to me, you have to consciously grow in your mind. When your mind is developed, the system which you're overseeing will also grow to meet you. Anywhere your mind stops, that's where the growth stops. If, for instance, now I'm a pastor. Let me give you a practical example. I'm a pastor. The church I pastor will never grow beyond the capacity of my mind. So if the church is not growing, then I am not growing. If your career, you are not growing, then your mind is no longer growing. If your business is not growing, you are not growing. It is not money that brings growth. It's the mind that is transformed that brings growth. You understand what I'm saying now? So you consciously have to grow. It is your mental capacity that determines the elasticity of your mind, determines the growth of your whatever organization you're handling. That's why you can't have a 2x4 mindset and expect a 16x20 result. I repeat. You can't have a mind of 2x4 and you're expecting a result of 16x20. That would be a paradox. It will never work. But if you have a 16x20 mindset and they give you an organization at 2x4, you will take it to 60x20 because your mind is already developed. But if you give a man with 2x4 to man an organization of 16x20, he will bring the organization down. So that's why you see some people get into a place and the system nosedives because their mind has not been transformed to meet the challenges that they have been asked to oversee. So everyone has a responsibility to know the kind of friends you keep and the kind of books you read. Because two things will make you in a transformed society. The friends you keep and the books you read. Because no association leaves you neutral. I want to tell you this. And not everybody at the airport is traveling. There are those who just at the airport. So when you meet somebody who is not going anywhere, it will affect your mind. So from today, choose the kind of friends you have. Choose the kind of books you read. Love you all and have a wonderful time in Arochukwu and all over the world as a part of this meeting. God bless you.